We are now 23 days into the increase of immigration raids in Los Angeles, and they are showing no signs of slowing down. Raids continue today at workplaces across the city, like the one shown here at a Home Depot in Cypress Park. Throughout the crackdown in LA, we have been able to have eyes and ears on the ground to give us footage like this, thanks to volunteers and groups like Unión del Barrio, who are committed to providing a rapid response to the raids. Today, NBC's Jacob Sobroff met with the members of that organization, talked to them about their efforts to support and protect the immigrant communities in their city. Here's some of that conversation.
So we're here right now. We're being very vigilant, looking at not only like federal agents, ICE agents, CBP, ERO, FBI, HSI, but we're also here looking out for honestly vigilantes that are being paid to be out here and hunt down and kidnap our people. We know that specifically Home Depot has been a hot spot recently in South Central and in the greater Southern California area. So that's why we chose this area this morning, because people are afraid. And when they see people like us here, when they see Unión del Barrio here, they see other community members that are here saying, we support you, saying that, we know that you're just trying to work. We're saying, we know that you have to work. And so we're just going to be here to ensure that your rights are defended. It makes the community feel better. It makes the workers feel better.
Joining our conversation, NBC News correspondent Jacob Sobroff. Jacob, tell us about Unión del Barrio's efforts. What more you learned today?
Well, you heard Alicia Lupe there talking about how Home Depot has been a hotspot. And despite, of course, the stated line of the administration that they're going after the worst of the worst in criminals, now that we enter this fourth week of wide-scale immigration enforcement across the streets of L.A., she's exactly right. That was around 6 o'clock this morning when I talked to her in that clip. Around 10:45, Sprinter vans filled with heavily armed tactical agents showed up. Here's a photo of it at the Home Depot in Cypress Park, Los Angeles, on Figueroa. They went there to detain day laborers dressed like that. And I think maybe they got one or two gentlemen, picked them up and took them off for processing. It's part of the reason that Unión del Barrio is on the streets of Los Angeles every day, part of a much larger effort to have a community-based coalition of people literally looking out for their neighbors and their friends and their fellow community members. I want to show you a little bit more of what it was like to be out there so early this morning before this raid took place with those activists and community members as they watched out for other people in the community.
People are scared. People are scared. People are not working. People aren't going grocery shopping. People are sending their kids to go to work. It's really bad. This is almost like a COVID level, like pandemic, beginning pandemic kind of level, where we're seeing people not being able to make rent because they're afraid to go to work, sending their kids to go do vendor work for them. Yeah, it's really sad.
Even as we're standing here, I'm watching the three of you. Your head is almost like on a swivel, all of you, kind of looking around the parking lot. What are you looking for?
Yeah, well, I'm looking for the tried and true, undercover vehicles that these masked kidnappers are using. And we're saying mass kidnappers because we have no idea if they're agents of some federal agents or they're the mercenaries that are in town. We have no idea. So we just say anything that looks and matches what we're looking for, we're vigilant.
So that's part of the terrorization, Alicia, is that the members of the community don't know oftentimes who these people are rolling up to Home Depot parking lots or, the agricultural fields a couple weeks ago, or you name it, wherever they show up. The other thing I want to really emphasize and underline, Chavo, Lupe, everybody there has other jobs. They have day jobs. So the two women that you saw in the clip there are educators, and they were going off to the schools. I know it's summer school, but going off to work at school. Chavo works in the healthcare industry, community health. They're doing this because they care about Los Angeles. They're doing this because they care about their neighbors. They're handing out those exact flyers because they want people to understand what the vehicles look like when they roll up in the community, driving around every single morning for the past 23, going on 24 days in this unprecedented effort by the federal government.
Well, you work in education, you work in healthcare. You also understand the devastating impact this can have on a community. You talk, Jacob, about the mass agents there. There's reporting, I'm sure you've seen it, of people posing as federal agents amid these raids. Your sense, speaking with Unión del Barrio, like how concerned are these groups about the fact that they reference it there, they can no longer tell who is ICE and who is not?
I think it's one of the top concerns. You hear language like bounty hunters or vigilantes or mercenaries. The reason that people on the street are using this language is not to be derogatory towards federal agents. They sincerely, genuinely feel like they do not know who is out there coming after them and coming after people who are in their community. And there have been arrests of people who are impersonating federal agents trying to commit crimes against a vulnerable population here in the city. And that's the other part of this. That's why local law enforcement doesn't participate in immigration enforcement actions, civil immigration enforcement, because it scares people away from reporting things like violent crimes, burglaries, rapes, homicides. That's the situation now Los Angeles finds itself in, where people don't want to pick up the phone and call law enforcement because they don't know who's out on the streets and who might show up when they do that.